Brought to you by Skillshare. Click the link in the description for a 2-month free trial. The city of Compton has a unique legacy. Made famous through hip-hop records like Straight Outta Compton by N.W.A., the city developed a Wild West type image, and not necessarily in the best way. The music of Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, DJ Quick, The Game, and more found its roots in Compton. But despite all of the exciting art to come out of the city, its harsh realities are not to be overlooked. It's hard for a kid to make it out of a city like Compton, especially a good kid, just trying to make it out with his morals intact. Kids of the inner city needed a voice for the everyman, the ones trying to find the straight and narrow. No one could predict that an artist like Kendrick Lamar would come along, up for the challenge.
What inspired me sticking to the plan of keeping it true to what I wanted to do from the beginning. That's shine a different light on my city. Compton got so much negativity, and me sharing that and explaining the story to the youth, let them know that I come from this place and you still can touch me. I think I always had that idea of exploring something more than the city, and always having that. As far as gangster rap, when you listen to Good Kid, M.A.A.D, City, you'll understand that that's me. That's something you can't escape as an LA artist or a West Coast cat. The thing about it, you getting these kids now that want to tell their story a little bit different. What we once known as just gangster rap, it's transcending, to a universal scale. So you'll hear different type of instruments, you'll hear different bounces on the beat, but it still had that same flow.
In the midst of maneuvering the waters of trying to make it out of Compton, a younger Kendrick Lamar was beginning to make noise in his community, offering the most creative wordplay and hard-hitting songs that culminated in several mixtapes and an independent album titled Section 80. It wasn't long before Compton royalty Dr. Dre himself co-signed Kendrick and would later crown him as the ambassador for the West Coast. After getting signed to Dr. Dre's label Aftermath, it was clear that Kendrick's debut studio album was going to be one of the most anticipated releases of the decade. His album Good Kid, M.A.A.D City would be about Compton as much as it would be about Kendrick. He wanted the world to see how the city molded him for better or worse. He chose to tell his story as exactly that, a story, a grand hip-hop narrative akin to a film or a play, with structure and real-life tales. This album wasn't going to simply be a string of songs ambiguously labeled as a story. This was his story, as immersive as he could make it over music that would be hailed as classic material. This was the story of a good kid looking to get out of a bad situation, and the mad city who seek to devour him like a monster.
My standard album is 12 tracks. It's 12 tracks of my life. I didn't even want to go over that. I didn't even want to do the actual bonuses. I really wanted that 12 and that sequence, because the story is just so defined. Once you hear it, it'll catch just like that. My album sounds like cinema.
Kendrick calls the album a short film. This is simply because the album tells a clear story with the beginning, middle, and end, and the production of the album, including its skits, allow for cinematic immersion. At the beginning of the album, we hear the sound of a film projector starting, and then we hear a solemn prayer of young men asking for salvation.
The whole story in the concept really a self-portrait about myself, trying my best to escape the influences of the city, and figuring it out. So if you listen to it from top to bottom, you'll get the whole aspect and concept.
To start the album with a prayer, how did you come up with that?
It was just about me being creative. I really just wanted to set the tone and make it feel like a dramatic movie. If a movie started off with a prayer, it draws you into it. And that prayer just takes you on the ride down along the line, then you really understand what it represents as you continue to listen to the album.
The narrative of the album is not told in chronological order. The prayer actually doesn't play into the story until the end. And the opening track about Kendrick being set up by a girl named Shireen doesn't chronologically show up until the middle of his story. Kendrick has said that Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction was an inspiration. Pulp Fiction is also a film told out of order, but despite what's in order or what isn't, generally most stories follow a 3-act structure. And to save a lot of time in this video, we can generalize and say that Kendrick's story arc begins with his usual life in Compton, then going into an event that shakes his reality and leads him on a new path. Then the story would end in a metaphorical return to his home and his roots. That pivotal change plays out in 2 events, the first being Shireen's betrayal, the second being after Kendrick's friends sought to avenge him. This is where Kendrick portrays Compton as a mad city, not just dangerous but truly threatening. The prayer is the beginning of Kendrick's return and renewal. As a wise older woman gives the young men advice after their friend's death, she leads them in a prayer for salvation. After they are finished praying, she says it is the beginning of their real life. Kendrick, having realized what truly matters in life, sees his purpose, and according to Kendrick, it is the prelude to his life as we see it, packaged and sold as a work of art.
As I matured, man, I found out, there's so much more, I could speak on. Once I knew that the music wasn't just for me, that's when everything else changed.
What does that acronym M.A.A.D stand for?
It's two minutes. The first one is my angry adolescence divided. The basic standout meaning is my angels on angels dust. That's the reason why I don't smoke. That was me.
You?
That the guy laced.
Oh.
Reason why I don't smoke, and it's in that album.
Well, who's the motherfucker that laced your shit?
It's in the story.
I don't know that I've heard a record where the music is so thoroughly the soundtrack of one person's life like that record is with Kendrick.
The cover art for the album also told a story in and of itself.
I always had this premeditated that it was going to be my album cover for years. I always knew it. It represents so much, not only the household I grew up in, but just a lot of people's lives that just came up in the ghetto and in urban neighborhoods. That's my uncle right here. Both of them are uncles. All the way to the right, that's my grandfather. Granddaddy had to go to the Flash backstroke every day in Chicago. That's him right there. His name Cadillac.
The fourth track of the album, titled The Art of Peer Pressure, features Kendrick giving a dramatic retelling of a robbery that he was involved in. This song establishes exactly the tension that Kendrick was going through, the tug of war between living by his own convictions or following those around him. The song also establishes the relationship dynamic amongst all of his friends.
The art of peer pressure, man, that's just my life, man. Even the characters involved, I can relate to that on so many levels, even all of the references that he was using.
I'm sure everybody can relate, to a specific time in their lives where, they were a group of guys and you're influenced by these cats because you grew up with them and, you respect them. Most of the times your doings, it'd be wrongdoings and you know it. But at the same time, you're comfortable with them and, you have that bond and that brotherhood. That's the art of peer pressure.
One of the darkest songs on the album is titled Sing About Me. In the song, Kendrick remembers those from his hometown that he wishes to represent in a positive light, including those who have passed away. This song immediately follows a skit involving one of Kendrick's friends being murdered on their night out.
Sing About Me. Well, when I heard, the beat, I already knew what I want to talk about because it just has so much pain and emotion in that record. Man, I just really wanted to dig deep to a real life story of mine that, had that perfect marriage with the, drums and the little guitar plucks that's in there. It's crazy.
In the album, there were two creatively misleading songs. The first being Backseat Freestyle and the second being Swimming Pools. Backseat Freestyle, produced by Hit Boy, threw off some listeners who thought Kendrick had changed his subject matter to talking about power and money. Yet it turned out that he was rapping from his younger, less mature perspective. It's him reflecting on the shallowness of what he used to value the most.
I wrote that song in the perspective of being 16 years old, I would say Martin Luther King had a dream. You knew the dream he stood for, but being 16, the dream we stood for was money, power, sex, drugs, murder, and things like that. So that was the perspective of that, being in the mindset of a 16-year-old kid.
Swimming Pools, which is about alcoholism, can completely be misconstrued for a party song encouraging people to get drunk, especially if you hear it at a party without paying attention to the lyrics. But anyone who listens deeper can hear a darker story.
Swimming Pools, that was a record produced by a cat from Toronto by the name of T-. I just really got inspired by the beat. I wanted to talk about something that was actually a universal feel, but actually something that had somewhat of a message in it. And it was about alcoholism. Being inside of Compton and seeing a lot of people drinking and, destroy their lives through that. And the song really just represents, being a casual drinker or being a drunk, and it just felt right to me,
Many producers contributed to the album, but the album's secret weapon was found in TDE's in-house engineer, Derek Mixed by Ollie. His talent in getting a mix to just envelop the listener is what made this music truly pop out.
It sure seems like when I listen to that record, a torch has been passed. And you're responsible for crafting that. I know you're too shy and polite.
When I mix, I start with the drums first, of course. And I feel when you get the kicks and the snares and stuff hidden, you can mold the whole song around that. I just love it. When you hear that snare, it just snaps and you feel it in your chest, especially when he's real music inclined as well. He did an interview one time and he was talking about how he sees sound as color. And majority of stuff, he sees it as like real, like mellow, like, you know what I'm saying, like purples and stuff, real, you know what I'm saying, real smooth stuff, and that's his personality also.
You listen to my tracks, I always want to switch it up but still be me and still, you know, please the ear as far as what I'm saying on the instrumental.
I try to work that vocal in to the type of beat that I'm mixing.
He's dope. That's what you wanted to know? What I thought about Kendrick? I love all that jazz shit that y'all have in your music. That's the shit, man. It's like interesting to me that you guys did harder music, but with like the chords. Yeah, he one of the next out of Compton. He's one of the next, to me, in America, period. He's one of the next. It's nice.
Kendrick's song Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe is about him trying to find freedom in his pursuit of being the best artist. In the song, Kendrick sings the hook in a creepy monotoned melody. Lady Gaga was initially going to sing the hook. The hook started with the words, "I am a sinner, who's probably gonna sin again." When Lady Gaga wasn't able to finish her part, Kendrick took over, singing in his own unique way. As Kendrick sings the hook, his vocals are intertwined with the melodic voice of fellow artist Anna Wise. Their voices mix in such a way that it's hard to tell where either artist begins or ends.
I have this pitch thing that I do with her vocals, and I do a lot of like panning automations and make them kind of intertwine and sound real eerie, reverbed up. And
Kendrick's music is characterized by a very unique flow that constantly changes and morphs into different styles.
I don't want to be like nobody else. I want everything I do to be original. Let me try to do something different. You know, I'm challenging myself not to use the same pattern that everybody uses.
There are only 4 major features on the standard edition of the album. The list includes label mate J-Rock, Drake, MC.A.A.D, and Dr. Dre. Kendrick wanted to keep his album as personal as possible.
And then how was it, you know, getting Drake on the track? How does that all come about? Is that like from the tour y'all did?
Yeah, from the tour. Yep. He had put me on this joint. Felt it was only right, you know, to find something that actually makes sense.
Kendrick's collaboration with Drake on the song Poetic Justice is a highlight of the album. The song is named after the film of the same name, starring Janet Jackson. Jackson's song Anytime, Anyplace is sampled in the track.
The idea was actually brought to me by the producer by the name of Scoop DeVille. He came with the actual instrumental, and immediately I got inspired, you know, just off the feel of where the song came from and who Janet is. I just really want to make it that much more unique today. So I had to come with a nice concept and something that just felt good, not too over the top, but just keep it in a vein where she had it, you know, but in 2013, you know. So I really just got inspired from what she did and from, you know, that great song, you know, so it's a beautiful song. One thing about me, I don't do too many features. It just have to make sense, it gotta feel right.
Paying tribute to the West Coast, Kendrick was able to get Compton veteran MC.A.A.D on M.A.A.D City. His presence revived the memory of classic G-Funk of the 90s.
He sat me down, told me the direction of what he wanted to do, how he wanted the song to go, what he wanted the hook to say, what he wanted me to say on the hook, the streets he wanted me to name, all that. When I heard the beat, and I'm like, oh, that's that old school Cube right there. So it was just natural shit. And then he wanted me to talk about shit that I already been talking about for years.
You know, you put a nice groove on, and you know, you kick something that's real to you, you kick something that's real to, you know, the people around you. That's that G-Funk feel. It just had to feel right. You know, that was something that was inspired by, you know, Warren G, you know, and that whole era right there. He really inspired that, and you can hear it in my music. You hear it in my first track, titled Shireen. I consider that G-Funk.
It's like I'm so excited about what he's doing for not only just the coast, but like just music in general, you know what I'm saying? Like he's making really great hip hop, so I'm proud of that.
The song Dying of Thirst is Kendrick's solemn response to his life in Compton as he thirsts for a higher purpose. According to the older woman who prays with Kendrick and his friends after the shooting, they need holy water. She also implies that their anger will bring destruction, and faith in God will bring renewal. This is the breakthrough moment that marks the beginning of Kendrick's new life. After finding hope in his spirituality, Kendrick and Dr. Dre close out the album with a victory lap titled Compton.
If I get a person walking down the street and then they break down and be crying, you know, and explaining how much this song saved their life, that's a surreal moment.
This time, the good kid has made a man of himself, and he has brought his story back to the city to uplift his people, like he believes he was always meant to.
People live their lives to this music. period. You know, it's my partners in the hood right now that they listen to rap every day because it's the only thing that can relate to their stories and their tribulations. They live and breathe it. You can't play with this.
Good Kid, M.A.A.D City was released to universal acclaim and was considered by many to be an instant classic. Now being far removed from its release date, people still speak very highly of Kendrick's Compton story. Through all of its artistic choices, the heart of the album is about empowering the good kids in all of the M.A.A.D cities of the world. People trying to make life better for themselves.
It's love. It's a beautiful thing, my nigga. You great at what you do. You ain't good at what you do. You great at what you do. I'ma say this and I'ma mean this. Nigga, you got the torch, nigga. You better run with it. You better run with it, nigga, because it's yours.
Thanks for watching. In the pursuit of my future projects, I have found myself turning to Skillshare in order to learn how to sharpen my creative abilities. Their premium membership gives you unlimited, high-quality classes taught by experts in their field, so you can improve your skills, unlock new opportunities, and do the work you love. If you want to dive into the world of music mixing and production, Skillshare has premium quality classes in that field. Skillshare is also more affordable than most leading platforms out there. An annual subscription with Skillshare is less than $10 a month. Click on the link in the description to get a 2-month free trial to Skillshare. It's a great deal that will give you plenty of time to learn and discover a new passion.